Do you remember where you were when the terrorists attacked us on 9/11? Do you remember how you felt? Do you remember the shock, fear, distress, and that sick feeling in your stomach when you realized that thousands of our people had been killed? Did you cry? Do you remember the sympathy you felt for the brave heroes who died and for those families who lost loved ones? Did you say a prayer? Then do you remember the kindness and love from volunteers who came from all over the nation to cheer the police and firefighters, feed the workers, and donate blood? Do you remember the pride and patriotism you felt for our country when those firemen raised our flag and President Bush climbed on top of that car with his arm around the firemen and used the bullhorn to rally the nation? Do you remember how your hurt and anger started turning to gritty determination and a warrior-like mentality as we vowed to retaliate against the terrorists? Wouldn't you like to have that same sense of patriotism that our country experienced during those weeks and months that followed that terrible time? Wouldn't you like to renew some of that same patriotism without having to go through another catastrophic attack like that again? I'm here at the East Tennessee Veterans Memorial looking at the names of over 6,000 war heroes who are being honored by having their names etched in these granite pillars. This includes 14 Medal of Honor recipients, and these are the fallen heroes from only 35 counties in and around Knoxville. Imagine how many more hundreds of thousands who made the ultimate sacrifice are buried in the whole United States. It makes you pause and begin to realize what real, true patriotism is all about. Hi, my name is David Lawson. I live in Knoxville, Tennessee, home of the University of Tennessee Volunteers, which gave us Pat Summitt and Peyton Manning. We're about 30 miles from the Smoky Mountains and the birthplace of our ambassador to the whole world, Dolly Parton. I'm here today to hopefully interest you in an all-American patriotic project through a series of original patriotic artworks to go through the Kickstarter program. If you'll give me about 5 minutes of your time, I'm going to try to convince you that you and I together, along with thousands of other people that we can contact through social media, can start a patriotic crusade with the purpose of bringing back some of the patriotism we felt as a country after we were attacked on 9/11. Before I show you my project, I understand I'm supposed to give you a little bit of my background. I was always a good student, a good athlete. In high school, I made good grades. I played football, baseball, and ran track. I received a lot of honors and awards. In my senior year, I was selected as the Scholastic Athlete Player of the Year for our East Tennessee area. That led to an Ivy League scholarship, and a couple of years ago I was inducted into my high school Hall of Fame. The most important thing, however, is I married my high school sweetheart 52 years ago. We have 4 great kids, and of course 5 amazing grandkids. Now about my project. I've always been extremely patriotic. I'm sure it's because patriotism is in my blood. My grandmother's maiden name was McCulloch, and her grandfather, my great-great-grandfather, was Benjamin McCulloch, who was a brigadier general in the Civil War. He was also personal friends with Davy Crockett and Sam Houston. After Davy Crockett went to Texas and unfortunately was killed at the Alamo, the next year my great-great-grandfather went down to Texas, became a U.S. Marshal, and became a famous Texas Ranger. In fact, he's one of only 30 Rangers ever inducted into the Texas Rangers Hall of Fame. On the other side of our family, we had the last name of Henry, and I've always been told that we're direct descendants of Patrick Henry, who was the founding father that gave us the famous phrase, "Give me liberty, give me death." So I couldn't help but grow up and be patriotic. A few years ago, I started working on a line of patriotic artworks that I developed right here in Knoxville. The centerpiece is a 24 by 36 inch original all-American print, which I have entitled America's Greatest Treasures. It represents many of the patriotic things that you think of when you envision the major symbols and ideas that reflect America. If you will notice, it has American flags, all the presidents, and the major monuments in Washington. In addition, it honors all 5 branches of our military heroes and depicts many other patriotic themes. It also shows the headings of what historians consider to be the 3 most important documents in U.S. history: the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. Each of these prints has the document itself and a muted picture in the background showing the signing of the document. Each one also has a short history lesson at the bottom that tells about the major events and the major people involved in the signing. I have combined the original print and these 3 historical documents into a patriotic kit, which is the main focal point of my Kickstarter project. These are educational and patriotic. Over the next couple of years, I will be developing a whole series of at least 16 other original artworks, such as the Statue of Liberty, the Liberty Bell, the White House, the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, Arlington National Cemetery, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers, the new Freedom Tower, and several other important patriotic items representing our great country. All of these other artworks in the collection will have matching borders with the document or the monument itself, a muted picture in the background, and a short history lesson at the bottom, just like the first 4 pieces. These other patriotic artworks will be made available one about every 60 to 90 days to be added to the collection that goes along with the original 4-piece patriotic kit. Because they are patriotic and educational, they make great teaching tools. You know, my favorite patriotic ad in the days that followed 9/11 was one where it showed a row of houses in a typical American city, and the ad said something like, "The terrorists thought they would change America after they attacked us." Well, they did. The next scene showed that same row of houses all displaying our American flag, waving high and proud. If you will remember, millions of homes, offices, schools, hospitals, military bases, cars, trucks, boats, fire engines, and even tractors were flying our flag everywhere. Patriotism was at a peak after 9/11, probably the highest it had been since World War II, and I would like to bring back that same sense of patriotism in America today. Now let's talk about the rewards for our backers. Obviously, the larger the pledge, the greater the reward. For example, there are 5 tiers of pledges. Tier 1. If you pledge $25, you get a copy of the 24 by 36-inch original print called America's Greatest Treasures. Tier 2. If you pledge $75, you get the complete patriotic kit with the original print plus the 3 greatest American documents. Tier 3. If you pledge $100, you get the complete patriotic kit plus 1 each of the other 16 individual patriotic prints as they become available. Tier 4. If you pledge $500, you get all the above plus 1 of the original America's Greatest Treasures prints beautifully framed. Tier 5. If you pledge $1,000, you get all the above plus 1 of the original America's Greatest Treasures prints beautifully framed and personalized with up to 4 people of your choice, printed on a canvas art print with an identifying brass name tag at the bottom. Here is an example of a framed print that I presented to a wounded warrior veteran. Here's an example of one of the framed prints that I personalized for a Medal of Honor recipient. If you notice, it has his picture in the middle and has the brass plate at the bottom, personalized with all of his important information. What I'm trying to do, which is to generate more patriotism across America, will be a huge undertaking. And the success of this project is going to depend on how many people we get involved. I hope that you'll become a backer. However, if you're not interested or you don't want to become a backer yourself, then please at least help us by notifying other people who might be interested, and go ahead and forward this video out through your social media outlets like Facebook and emails. I'm talking about contacting people like your family and relatives, military friends, veterans, veteran organizations like American Legion, VFWs, and AMVETS. I'm talking about social and civic organizations or any type of service organization. And let's not forget our first responders, people like policemen, firefighters, and EMTs. You might want to make a small pledge yourself and use the rewards that you would receive as special gifts for customers, bosses, birthdays, or Christmas presents. These are especially good for teachers who can display these around the room and use them as educational tools, and then add to the collection as more of these become available. After all, the more people we contact, the more response we should get and the more pledges. So I'm asking all of our friends and our backers and our supporters of Kickstarter to help us reach our goal of raising $20,000 to help launch this American-grown project. If we do get it launched, it will support itself after that, and we'll know that we did a good job of spreading pride, patriotism, and hope. After all, with all the problems and insecurities and the fear for our safety we have in America today, we certainly could use it. So please spread the message and help us find candidates who will join our crusade for patriotism. Let's all become real patriots. Now, let's roll. In conclusion, I wish you would consider one profound thought. I once heard a psychologist say that as people get older, it's not so much that they're afraid of dying, but they're more afraid of being forgotten. Let that thought sink in just for a minute. You know, by most standards, I've had a pretty good life. As I said earlier, I married my high school sweetheart, I've had some great kids and grandkids, and earned a pretty good living along the way. However, I think most of you would agree we would all like to think we left some type of a mark while we're here, that we didn't just take up space and breathe oxygen. We would like to think we did something we could be proud of and be respected by our families, our future generations. After all, our legacy is not what we accomplish on earth, but what we leave for others behind us. Folks, help me educate people and support our troops. These are the people that make sacrifices and defend our freedoms. Help me get something together that we can all be proud of, and while we're still here, let's leave something for others behind that will respect and honor us. If you will help me, I promise I will do my part, because I've now decided to put this on my bucket list. You know, Johnny Appleseed spent his entire life spreading apple seeds. I'm in the process of downsizing my advertising company that I've had for 34 years, and I've decided to spend the rest of my life spreading American patriotic seeds in every corner of this country that I can. I would appreciate your help. Thank you very much for listening. God bless all of us, and God bless America.